This is the Alan Jones Academy of Music. And
In all its glory.
yeah. How many students do you have?
About 50.
Wow. Wow. Is it just this time in Portland where there are so many opportunities for young musicians to learn? You have yours, Farnell, Thara, all those people.
Yeah, I think it's developed over time. Portland's always been a scene where young people have been both interested and able to play music, but I think just recently it's shot up.
Why do you think that is?
Soil. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I know that I think it's cultural. I think when I was growing up, music was it was like sports to me in high school. It was like you had to fight to get the top chair in the band. You had to fight to get into the jazz band because Robbie Burleson was ahead of you. And now...
Does it still bother you?
A little bit. If he wasn't such a nice guy now, it'd bother me more. But no, it was always competitive and it was always fun. And so the scene has been, to me, like that from the beginning. When I was a kid, I was studying with Mel and with Jeff Compston, and always going out to hear music, standing outside, watching from the window. And it seemed like, a vibrant scene. And so it felt like something when you were a kid. And I think, that's why I've always returned here and thought, it would be great to continue the education that I got, for other people who wanted to come up and play music.
Let's talk about the new album.
All right.
It's mountain climbing inspired.
It is mountain and rock climbing inspired. It's called Climbing with Rough in parentheses, because the masters of that whole session were lost, and the only music that's still available were on like 8 CD discs that I burned right off the board, like right after we recorded. I was just going to take home and listen to and then decide what takes to use. And from that point until I got back to the masters, they were gone. The computer they were on was destroyed, and the copies that I had made were corrupted. So,
see, I don't think you should tell people that. I really don't, because you're a perfectionist. You know what you want. You know what you wanted it to sound like. And
yeah.
But
I
those of
understand
us,
the principle.
those of us people in the audience, we don't quite hear as well as you do.
Well, it might be true, and I gave it a lot of thought. I thought, maybe I just don't say anything and put it out. But I decided to say something really on purpose because, first of all, at some point I'd really like to put it out the way I want it.
Yeah.
And if it ever happens that I can resurrect the corrupted files, I would definitely want to actually mix it and put it out right. But mastering has come a long way too. And so we were able, Nick Moon mastered it. He did a great job. And we were able to make it sound like a decent record. So it ended up to be okay, but still, it's not sonically. If you are a person who's discerning in that type of way, caring about the real sound of the record, you're going to notice.
Most of us, however, do listen for the quote-unquote musical content, as you suggested we do.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
With this one, just forget the quality of the mix and just.
I don't remember hearing too much music that was inspired by those activities. What about those inspired you? And how did these tunes come out of it?
Whenever I climb anything, somehow there's music going on. When you're doing a long slog up a mountain, you have a lot of time to think, and rather than think, which I don't do too well at, I hear music instead. So
while you're climbing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's I can't stop it. I want to stop it sometimes. Like a melody will be going on in my head over and over and over and over again, and I'm like try and get rid of it, and I can't. And it really can be annoying and frustrating, unless it's a good song, and then You know, but after an hour of even a good song, it starts to wear on you. So I just took to writing them down when I was climbing. And
Not while you're climbing.
Yeah, sometimes.
Really?
If it's not, you know, you can stop for a minute and write it down and keep going. Or even if it's just a climb, you know, you can write while you're walking. But some of them were written for rock climbs, sort of like a musical map of a certain crack or a certain specific rock climb. There's a couple of tunes like that. There's a couple that just describe, you know, the overall feeling of climbing, different types of routes. You know, there's some hard route descriptions, and there's some of these long, meditative, slow descriptions, and you know, the view from the top once you get there. So I took a number of aspects of what climbing means to me and wrote compositions.
Your gig at the Blue Monk, it's every other Thursday.
Right.
Now, I know the first couple of weeks you were playing with your students.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen this week, though, right?
This week is Randy Porter and Tom Wakeling and Rob Davis.
What is that experience like for you playing with your students?
It's really, really interesting on so many levels. It can be the greatest musical experience, you know, playing with young people that you've had at least some hand in you know, their musical development is really fun. And at other times it can be also challenging because you maybe want something to happen that isn't, and so you know, my attitude can be a little different when it's students than if it's peers. So you know, I might get a little grumpier sometimes.
Oh no.
Or even more excited because you know, it came off the way we intended it. But overall, it's really it's an opportunity for me to learn more about the way they play so that I know better how to work with them. And I think it's great for them to play in a musical environment that's serious. You know, I expect a lot from them in that environment. I expect them to be professionals. I expect them to play better than they can play. And they rise to the occasion a lot. And
who challenged you when you were that age?
All of my teachers, for sure. Jeff Compston challenged me a lot in a lot of ways. But you know, when I worked with Jim Pepper, he always challenged me in musical and personal ways. And Count Dutch, we had a band with Count Dutch and Jim Pepper, and that was challenging. We traveled, you know, when I was young, when I was 16, 17. And so I learned a ton from that environment, and they definitely pushed me. I learned a lot from David Friesen in the years that I was on the road with him. An immense amount I learned from him. And pretty much everybody. Dave Holland I learned a ton from.
So what will we hear Thursday night?
Thursday night's a group of old friends, and we had a band called the Cavemen when the Cave was in existence. And so it's a reunion of that band. It's not a big reunion gig. You know, we play together still all the time. Both Randy and Tom play in my sextet, and so we're playing a lot. But you know, this band as an entity hasn't played together since the Cave closed. So it'll be fun. We'll be playing some original music and some, you know, burning jazz.
Speaking of the Cave, is there anything happening in the with you starting another club?
No, not right now.
Oh.
There was a window of opportunity there where it looked like we were going to be able to kind of jump into a new space, and that didn't materialize. And as time has gone on, my schedule has filled up more and more, and it would be really hard to do it right now. However, through AJAM, through my school, if we end up in the right space in a year or so, part of my vision for the academy is to include a club and restaurant kind of atmosphere where students can play, and it would be another cave sort of environment.
Until then, we'll have to just come see you at the Blue Monk.
At the Blue Monk, at Jimmy's every other month or so, and
Yeah.
wherever else I pop up.